Thank you, sir. Thank you for the kind words of introduction.
Thank you.
I take this opportunity to express my thanks to the Department of ECE of Amal Jyoti College of Engineering for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. As Sir had told, it has been a journey from an engineer to a police officer. But now, sir, engineering, most of the engineering things I have forgotten, and it's more of a police officer, sir. As I have been given this opportunity to interact with the young and bright minds of the college, I take this opportunity, and I have been told that I have to structure my talks on 4 aspects. One is career and academics, academic journey, role of technology in career, technological empowerment, and finally, advice on career and general advice. So let me just start by telling how I had made the journey from an engineer to a police officer. The idea of joining Indian Police Service was there in my mind from a very young time. I had the preparations, the earnest preparations had started during the 2nd and 3rd year of engineering itself. However, during my schooling days, also I used to take part in quiz and elocution competitions, which actually had helped me to get over with the preparations as well as to understand and make a concentrated effort to clear the civil service examinations. It was always my idea that I should join the Indian Police Service, and the idea was to a large extent influenced by the fact that my father was also a police officer. So having seen these things from the early childhood itself, so I felt, and I still believe, until now I have been proved correct, that by being a police officer, I'll be able to contribute to my society and to the system, to my country. So that was the reason why I chose civil services and the Indian Police Service in particular. I had joined Model Engineering College after completing my class 12, because as you all know, civil service is a examination that you can appear and you can qualify and get a job as any of the 32 All India, the 3 All India services or any of the other central services only after completing your graduation. So the idea of joining electronics engineering and completing electronic engineering was as an building stone or as the initial step to prepare for my civil service examinations and to give the examination. And for that matter, any graduation, a person who has completed graduate degree in any of the courses can appear for civil service examination. I cleared the examination in 2007. So it's more than 15 years. So when my friend Mut had told me that I have to give a talk on civil service examinations as well as on career guidance, I had humbly requested her that it's more than 20 years since I had passed engineering, and it's more than 15 years since I had entered the civil services. So things have changed a lot, but to a large extent, the general idea and the general principle of civil services as well as of engineering still remains the same. So based on that, I would like to interact with you all and to share some experiences that I have found and that had helped me in clearing these examinations. As I told you, though the idea was there from the initial times itself, from my earlier childhood, it's only since the start of the high school that I had kept that in mind, that for preparing for civil services, that what all are the steps that one need to understand. So there always used to be in the month of May, when the civil service final results come, the interviews as well as the success stories of various candidates used to come. So that actually helped me in understanding what civil services is all about and how as a civil servant you will be able to contribute to the system. So based on those understanding and interaction with various people who had cleared the civil services in these years, I got an idea on how to prepare for the civil service examinations and had started at the earliest. Since I had the background for that, when I was in school, also I used to be an active member of the quizzing club and also in the elocution and debating association of the schools. So I used to constantly keep track of the newspapers, magazines, and also the general awareness part. So that actually helped me a lot in preparations of the civil service examinations. And meanwhile, I was also a participant in many of the leadership camps that were conducted in various parts. I was a member of the Balajana Sakyam. So these organizations and these meetings also gave me an idea on how civil service examinations are to be faced. So all these helped me in understanding civil service examinations. But then I always understood that civil service is an examination for which at the year when we got selected, there were 464 vacancies. Whereas the total number of people who had given the preliminary examination, that's the total number of people who had written the examination were 4,70,000 people. So that means the attrition rate or the chances of one becoming successful in civil service is 1 in 1,000. That is not even 1% success is there. 0.1% success probability is there. So as to make your future or to make yourself on a strong footing from which you can appear for civil service examination, that was the main reason why I chose electronics engineering, because that gave me a basis from which I can successfully or I can take the risk and I can aim for preparing for the civil service examination. And also it has to be kept in mind that in the civil service examinations, the final stage of the examination, that is the personality test or the interview, is conducted by the civil service, the Union Public Service Commission's board members, where each of the board member acts as the chairperson of the committee, and there will be other subject experts and others who would be aiding him or her. But in the issue, as far as civil services is concerned, it's always said that they look for people who are not job hunters, or they look for people who are ready to leave something and to contribute to the system. So that is the basic idea on which civil services and the UPSC looks forward. So the mains examination and the interview part plays a major role in the final selection. So that was the reason why I took civil services and I took electronics engineering, because that gave me a basis, and that I knew that being an electronics engineer, I can always have I can always take the risk of preparing for civil services and aiming for and trying for civil services, because I always knew that I have a professional degree in my hand. And so in the case that I am not able to clear the civil service examinations, I still have a professional degree in my hand. And that is one thing that most of the interview board members also look for. They always look for a person who is ready to take the task, who is ready to come for the service for the purpose of serving the people, rather than for a person who is trying to look into the service, that is looking into all India services just as a job opportunity. So these were the two reasons on basis on which I took up engineering, and especially electronics engineering. During the electronics engineering part, it was, though I had finished the electronics engineering part in the due course of the 4 years, but always I had in my mind that I should again start preparing for civil service examinations. Civil service is a course or an examination for which you require a continuous preparation, where the base has to be laid for at least over a period of 3 to 4 years. Unlike every other examination where you have a time period of a year or a two, where you can make all the preparations and then appear for the examination, civil service is something that you need to have a base on which you can build upon in a period of 1 or 2 years. So the idea of getting a base is that UPSC says that any person who is socially and environmentally aware of his surroundings, who is aware of the country, who is aware of his society, can appear for civil services and clears. But though they say that any socially aware person can clear, they always look for a lot of qualities in a civil servant and a lot of ideas in a civil servant. So to understand civil services, what I had done during that time was that I had completed all my exam of books of NCERT from standard 5 to standard 12th, which included history, civics, political science, and also the engineering subjects. I mean the science subjects of biology, physics, and chemistry. This actually gave me an idea. Since I was from an NCERT syllabus, this also gave me better understanding and also helped me in my general studies papers. Now there is a lot of change that has happened in the last 5 to 6 years in the civil service examinations. Some of the topics have been changed, some of the papers have also changed, but largely it remains the same, that at any point of time that you require to prepare for civil services, you need to have a good understanding about the general knowledge about the country, about the things that are happening all across the world. Because a person who is socially aware, a person who is aware about his surroundings will only be able to contribute or to make an informed decision. And they always expect that as a civil servant, you make an informed decision based on the knowledge that is available to you. So for these purposes, I had, even during my engineering, 4 years in engineering, I had attributed a lot of time of my free time towards preparation for civil service examinations. Many of the books that I had read, for me, at the time when I was preparing, there were 2 subjects that you needed to take. And each of these 2 subjects, the optional subjects that were there, each of these 2 subjects had 2 papers each. So for me, I had selected that my subjects were public administration and geography, quite different from the engineering subjects that are there. There is, out of the engineering subjects, 3 engineering subjects are still there. Civil, electrical, and mechanical is still there. Then other engineering based subjects like mathematics and physics, all these subjects are still available. But I had chosen public administration and geography specifically for the purpose that, because of the earlier background in quizzing and elocution and also reading newspapers, I always had an liking for public administration, because that actually had helped me also in my general studies paper, because that gave me an idea on how the Indian polity works and how public administration helps me as a better administrator. So that was the reason why I took public administration. And the other topic that I had taken was geography. Geography I had specifically taken because since engineering background was there and since science background was there, geography was easier to score, as well as geography had Indian geography and the world geography both had 60 marks associated with map and map reading. So that 60 marks would actually help me in clearing the paper in a much better opportunity. So I took both these subjects based on my liking for the subject as well as on the final scoring pattern. As young aspirants, I would also suggest that you all can go forward after selecting a subject based on the previous examination papers as well as the scoring pattern that is there. The previous examination papers are all available on their websites. Now it's much more easier. Earlier it used to be that we had to take question paper books that were available either in the library or you can get it from various publication houses. So based on this, I had started the preparations for civil service examinations from concentrated effort. I had started after joining in engineering. And in engineering subjects, after completing my engineering, I had joined CTS. I was working for a year there. And this purpose of working for a year in CTS was twofold. One was to get an understanding about the software field, the field in which I had, or the field for which we had been trained as electronic engineers. And after being an engineer, then how is the software field? And also it gives me an understanding on how the software field works and what are the prerequisites that are available, that are necessary there. The second part and the most important part was that that actually helped me in my civil service preparations and in my interview, because of the fact that I also wanted to put it in my resume that I have left a job and I am preparing for civil services because of the fact that I have a passion for the service. And these are the two reasons on which I joined the company, worked for nearly a year there, and then had quit and had gone to Delhi. So though I had attended many of the classes there and had got an initial idea on the general studies, history, and all the other papers, and then I had prepared by myself for more than a couple of years. Intensive preparation was there, because as I told in this initial phase itself, civil service is not something that you can clear in a single try or in a single year. It is something that requires a lot of perseverance and determination, because as civil servants also, not all of the things that you can achieve or that you can deliver are easy targets. These are targets that you have to keep working on, and finally you will be able to deliver, because you keep trying for it and you keep your hard work aimed at achieving your targets. In the same way, the exam also is a basic idea of how a civil servant should be. It needs that you need to read very widely, you need to read a lot of books, and you need to comprehend, as well as you need to put your ideas in very clear and lucid terms. So these were the reasons why I had completed my engineering, then did my 1 year job in CTS, and then had prepared for 3 years before I gave my the second attempt in which I had cleared the examinations. In the first attempt, as any normal Keralite or as any normal engineer, I had believed that with the amount of preparation that was there, it is very easy to clear the examination. So I had gone and given the examination. I was not even able to clear the preliminary paper. Then I had understood that this is not an exam in which one should expect a easy result. And that first preliminary examination also gave me an idea that where my lacunae, what all are the things in which I need to work on better, and how I can give a better examination. So after having completed the examination, then for a full 1 year, I had prepared and had made all the necessary corrections that were there in the earlier attempt that I had made, and then had given the examination. To give us a short idea of the civil service examination, the civil service examination has two papers or two stages. The first stage is the preliminary stage, and the second stage is the mains. The preliminary examination has the present syllabus, I think, has only 2 general studies paper. During our time, there was 1 general studies paper, and then there was an optional paper. The present mains examination has, at our time, had 2 optional papers, and then the general studies and the other papers. Presently, there are 4 general studies papers, which includes ethics paper. Then there is a civil service aptitude paper that is there. Then there is an essay paper, that's a 200-mark essay paper is there. Then there is a qualifying English qualifying paper for any one of the 22 languages, and there is a qualifying paper of English. After that, there is, as part of the mains examination itself, there is a personality test, that is the interview. The mains result includes the marks of the written examination added with the interview marks. The interview is conducted for 300 marks, if I am not wrong. During our time, the interview was conducted for 300 marks. And the written examinations marks are then added to the interview marks, and then the final results come. So over the entire examination period, starting from the preliminary to the date of the next preliminary, that is, it is spread over a period of a year. It takes almost a year for the entire examination process to get over. The problem with civil services preparations is that you can never think 100% that I am going to clear this time, so I do not need to prepare for the next preliminary examination. And if you think that once the result comes, and then I will start preparing for the civil for the preliminary paper, then you do not have enough time. So it's a continuing process. It's a cycle that you have to keep on cycling. You do not have the option of leaving the pedals unless you clear the civil service examination. So in that method, so we started the civil service preparations. The exam preliminary happens most probably on most of the times. It's either on the 3rd or the 4th Sunday of the May. And then after nearly 2 months, the preliminary results come. Between the preliminary result and the mains examination, you hardly have a time of more than 2 to 2.5 months. So once you start your preliminary preparations, after the preliminary examinations, you have to start your preparations, or you have to continue your preparations for the mains examination also. The mains results come during the month of February to March, and then there will be the personality test. And once the personality test is over, in the just a week to 10 days before the next preliminary examination, the mains results come, and then the final allotment is done. So at every stage, the amount of elimination is higher, but the highest number of elimination happens at the level of the preliminary, as in any competitive examination. So the preliminary is basically a multiple choice questions. So the maximum elimination happens there. If there are, for example, if I might state, if there are 400 vacancies that are available, then they will be calling exactly the thrice the number of candidates for the interview. That means 1,200 people will be attending the interview. If 1,200 people are attending the interview, then 10 times of that number will be called for the mains examination. That is 12,000 people will be attending the mains examination. So you can just imagine that from 4 or 5 lakh people, you are exactly eliminating more than 90%, more than 98% of them gets eliminated in the first level itself. So over a period of this time, if you make the preparations in such a way, the most important thing is to clear the preliminary examinations. But clearing the preliminary examination does not absolve you of the need to prepare for the mains as well as for the interview paper. So over the period of this time, your preparations have to be kept in mind that this is not a procedure that gets over, or this is not an examination that goes over in a time. If one feels that okay, I'll finish this preparation in a year, and then if I do not get in 1 year, it's always possible that you are actually miscalculating. It's always that you are miscalculating, because it's an examination for which you need to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort. But the advantage of clearing this examination is that the moment you clear the examination and you become a civil servant, the scope that it gives you for bringing any positive change, however slight is the change, any change in the life of a person and of a common man is so tremendous that no service anywhere in the world has got the amount of or the scope of powers that are available to an Indian civil servant. I make this statement with all knowledge of this thing, because I have been in the service for 14 years now. So I can very well state that this gives you a scope where you can bring a positive change in any person's life. For me as a police officer, it had given me a lot of scope, because as I said earlier, I had the liking and I had the love for this profession. So it gave me a lot of scope, and it gave me that pleasure of detecting a crime, to nab an absconding criminal, and to bring someone to justice when he or she thinks that having committed a crime and having escaped from the clutches of law, he or she can challenge the system. So that much scope this service gives. This was what I had wanted to tell regarding my career as well as the academic journey. As far as the role of technology in policing is concerned, for me as an engineering graduate, it had helped me in 2 ways. One is that as engineers, and I am sure that none of though I had completed engineering 20 years back, I'm 100% sure that as engineers, you all will also be doing the same thing that we did as engineering students. We always have this thing, there is a lot of things to study, but we know that out of these, the entire syllabus that is there, what are the things that we need to comprehend as the basis, and what are the things that can be thought of as additives, that we can leave it and then we can concentrate on these portions and can help us. So that comprehension power of an engineer had helped me both in my preparations as well as a civil servant. As I said, we, as my friend Muthu, who is there, who is your teacher, would be able to tell that as any engineering graduate, it used to be the 1 month or 1.5 months before the examination where we used to concentrate on our studies. The rest of the time was a good time where we all used to enjoy with our friends. But this 1.5 months of concentrated effort helped us not only as a aspirant for civil service examinations where we needed to understand the thing, but also it helped us. It helps me even now when I need to make a preparation regarding any particular case, or when I need to do my work as a police officer. So that civil service preparations as well as the my job is largely helped by the fact that I am a technology graduate. I am a graduate in electronics engineering. So my engineering days and the capability or the capacity that engineering brings into you to comprehend a vast subject, to understand the nitty-gritties of the subject, and then to put those ideas on how to solve a crime or how to solve a work has helped me. So I would consider that my studies of engineering or electronics engineering in this matter has been a great help for me in both in civil service preparations as well as a civil servant. During my tenure as Superintendent of Police, I had been fortunate enough to have worked in one of the most prestigious units of Gujarat Police as DCP Crime in Ahmedabad City. The Ahmedabad Crime Branch had a lot of technological users also. We had various softwares that are used by all the policemen, officers of Gujarat Police in detection of crime. There are softwares that are available that helps us in analysis of social media. There are softwares that are available which helps us in analysis of call detail records and IP detail records of subjects of interest or persons of interest with respect to a police investigation. In all these things, the use of being an electronics engineer had helped me because I had an understanding of the technology. Though if you ask me on coding, I would rather say that coding or any of the core engineering subjects are Latin and Greek to me on this particular day. But that basics of electronics or the basic idea that of programming as well as basic idea of technology has helped me when I was working as DCP Crime. And also, as one knows it very well, as time passes, the criminals as well as the crimes also become much more technologically advanced. So as a police officer, the use of technology or the knowledge of technology has helped me in all my cases, whether it be to solve a normal murder case or a case, or to the extent of trying to capture or trying to locate a absconding criminal either within India or outside India. So that is, as an engineer, the engineering degree and the engineering knowledge has helped me in understanding crime as well as criminals. And also the technological empowerment that has been brought to my forte by the engineering degree has helped me in, as I said, in solving these crimes. So as technology advances, earlier there was a time when, as you would have seen in any of the movies, whether it be any movie like any of these crime movies that you see, where you see that a criminal has used a mobile phone, and based on the mobile phone's cell tower location or based on the call detail records, the policeman or the police identifies and arrests the accused. But gone are those times when a normal call detail record helps us in identifying the criminal and getting him arrested. Criminals have become so intelligent that they use handsets without mobile phone, without any SIM cards. So you will not get any call detail records. Criminals use VPNs for making voice over internet calls so that you will not get any data. But by being an engineering graduate, we have been able to, or I have been able to at least try to explore the horizons of knowledge, horizons of technology on trying to outrun or outsmart these criminals. It is always said that the criminals are always one step ahead. It is always that we do a catching up game. It's true to a great extent, but somewhere this technological knowledge or the knowledge of technology has helped me in at least anticipating or trying to anticipate and outsmart many of these criminals. Though they feel that they have left no trace, it's always possible that because of the affinity towards technology, we are able to crack many of these cases. And I have been lucky that I have worked with officers, and I have worked with my subordinate and superior officers who have always reposed faith on my knowledge or on our efforts, that they have been more than helpful. And most of our detections and most of our cases have been solved because of the fact that they have put faith on us. As a part of my career guidance and a word on advice on career as well as on the general idea of job opportunities, I would say that as an engineer, your scope or your field of work would be limited to the fact that many of us might end up as software engineers. Some of us might go to core fields associated with electronics, but very few of us aspire, and very few of us aspire to become civil servants, and very few of us then get the opportunity to qualify the examination. This is not an examination, or this is not a test where one tests a person's brilliance or whether a person is an outstanding achiever. There are examples where people have been outstanding achievers, have cleared the civil service examinations, and have never been able to perform as a good civil servant. There are instances where outstanding people have never been able to clear the civil service examination. I always believe, I always believe that civil service is an examination where if you put in your determined effort, your perseverance, and you work with the single aim of clearing the examination, and you work with 100% of your effort, you will be able to clear the examination. This is an overstatement because of the fact that there is a lot of luck also. But as has been said by I had read it somewhere, that luck always stays with the stronger army. So if your army is strong, if your preparations are strong, if your mind and your determination is strong, I still believe that it is luck. An atheist might call luck, a person who believes in God will consider that it is the God's grace. But whatever it be, I still believe, and I still insist on the fact that if you put in your 100% effort, concentrated effort for a period of not less than 3 years, I believe that we will be able to clear civil service examination. This examination has made the UPSC always believes that there is a lot of technical graduates who qualify and come as civil servants. So they have always changed the examination schedule. They have always changed the syllabus to make sure that there is a level playing field for people from other subjects who are graduates in other humanities, in other science graduates, to make it to civil service. But even after that, it has always been proved that it is the maximum number of people who clear civil services examination. If you consider any particular category, the maximum number of them will be engineers, followed by doctors, and then others. So that proves, and that goes without saying, that as engineers, we already have an added advantage. We are at an advantageous position to clear the civil service examination. But many of us believe that civil service examinations do not warrant our time. We feel much better to be employed with a better salary. If you are coming for salary, then civil service is not for you, because civil service, as the name suggests, itself is a service only. You will not get paid in the way that a software engineer will get. As my friend Muthu will state, and all of you know, that an average salary of a software engineer who has completed the same years of service as me would be at least 10 times the salary that we get. But I can state and I can say that every day that I go back to home and I go to sleep, I feel happy that I have been in civil service, for the reason that I am able to bring change, or I am able to positively influence the life of a large number of people, which many of my colleagues or many of my friends who gets at least 10 to 20 times the salary will not be able to. So that is the scope that civil service gives you. So as a engineering graduate, who after having graduated in electronics engineering, after having worked for a year in CTS, after having spent 3 years preparing for civil services and having cleared civil service examinations, I would still state, and I would request all of you, that think of civil service examinations as a very good career option, because it gives you the opportunity to bring an positive impact in the life of a lot of people around. Obviously, being a civil servant gives you it gives you a status. It gives you, at any point of time, presently there are not more than 4,000 IPS officers in the entire country who are serving in various positions. So 4,000 among 135 crore people gives you a lot of responsibility, gives you a lot of authority also. It's the same for the Indian Administrative Service, or for that matter, Indian Forest Service, or any of the other central government services, which includes income tax, customs. There are other services like Railway Protection Force. There is Railway Personal Service. There are a lot of services. There are around 26 services for which the civil service examination recruitment is done. So as a civil servant, I would suggest and I would request that you all should think of civil services as a career option. And it's only that a large number of us do not take a concentrated effort towards preparing for civil services and taking a determined effort to work in civil services, that many of the officers, many of people from outside Kerala or from the other states make it to civil services. As a Keralite and as a civil servant, I can vouch for the fact that as a engineering graduate, I can vouch for the fact that we are much better placed to clear civil services. But it is only because of the fact that we do not think of it as an option, that we do not take the effort and the determined effort of clearing the civil services, that we do not take this as a career option. Yes, preparing for civil services has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. The moment I gave my first attempt, I couldn't clear. Second attempt, when I was preparing for it, I had left 1 year in between and had prepared. So during the second attempt, then I had many of my friends had also encouraged me. So I always used to think that as while preparing for civil services, what if I do not clear the civil service examination? it is a very high probability. As I said, it's not more than 0.1% of the total number of people. Now the numbers will be much smaller. It will be less than 0.1% who clear the examinations and become civil servants. So once that is there, so I thought that what if I do not clear the examination? But then I understood that even if I do not clear the examination, I will be much better aware, I will be much better knowledgeable about my country and the things around me. That in these 3 to 4 years that I had spent on it is never a waste. It was an investment towards future. So that it will make me a much more better and knowledgeable or an aware person. So these were the things that were there in mind when I was preparing. And I still tell that if you put in your mind, if you put in your concentrated effort, then for an engineering graduate, civil service is something that is very much achievable. This is what I wanted to discuss as I had been given this opportunity to discuss with you. This is what I wanted to discuss with you. Now I think that if there are any questions that are there, so I request the moderator that if questions are there, then we can spend the rest of our time in discussing on question answer section.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time for a Q&A session. You can either drop your questions in the chat box or raise your hand so that you can ask the question directly to the guest.
Ashley, you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
So what was the turning point from an engineer to a police officer and the most striking or salient experience they had gone through?
So the question was, what was your turning point to change from the engineer to a police officer role?
Okay. The turning point was that my father was in police service, so I always used to see him working. So there was a time when one of his superintendent of police had come for the police station inspection, where he was working as a circle inspector of police. So when he had come there, so that was the day that I decided that yes, there is an option that is available where I will be able to work, and there is an option that is available where I will be able to put in much more better results, or I'll be able to contribute much better than as a police inspector or as circle inspector, which my father was at that point of time. So that actually brought in a change in me, because at that time the officer who had come, he had actually brought in a lot of positive influence in me. I thought that he was a young superintendent of police at that point of time. So that made me aspire to be a police officer.
What's the most striking experience that sir had gone through?
She's asking about an experience that you've gone through. Could you make it clear, Ashley?
So what was the most exciting experience sir had gone through?
Exciting, probably exciting, sir.
Okay. The most exciting would have been there were cases which were always unsolved for a long period of time. There was a case of a Malayali couple who were staying in Ahmedabad at that time in 2003. 2003, the wife was found murdered in her house on the Valentine's Day. And the husband, who was the main suspect, the husband was at that point of time there. He had claimed that there was a robbery attempt and the wife had died. So, but the next day onwards, the husband went missing, and the person went missing for 15 years. So every day during the on Valentine's Day, there will be an obituary letter that will be there. It used to come in the newspapers. Sorry. there used to be an obituary letter that used to come, not obituary letter, there used to be a remembrance that used to be there. And that actually was a challenge for us because the person was never caught. And it was the husband, and all police officers, all police teams from various units in Gujarat had tried to solve the murder, but they were not able to, or rather luck did not favor us. When I had joined as DCP crime in Ahmedabad, that was in the year 2015. So that time onwards, we also used to see it. 2016, 17 went. So 18 also we saw the news item. So always it used to be a pain in the back of the mind. It always used to be on the back of the mind that this particular case we are not able to solve. And since the girl was from a family where she was 8 years younger to her, 8 to 10 years younger to her elder sister, so they used to consider her just like her daughter. So they always were very painful. It was very painful to tell them that we are not able to get the accused. But because of our effort and because of the fact that, as I said, luck stays with the stronger army, because of the continuing and perseverant effort, we were able to identify the person. He had changed his entire identity. He was living as an entirely different person, and he was working as an assistant project manager in a very reputed database company in Bangalore. And we were able to arrest him in 2018, October, I think. So that was, I still consider that was one of the cases that gave me immense satisfaction for the fact that we always thought that these type of cases go undetected. And so when we were able to get the accused, we felt that we really were able to prove that the hand of the law is very, very long. So it will finally get to the accused, howsoever high you are and howsoever hidden you are.
Okay, I think Daniel, you have the second question. You can unmute yourself and ask. So will we be able to take 2 more questions?
Yeah, please. I am free only.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, I have read articles about your various achievements, and you have a great track record of solving difficult cases and arresting worst kind of criminals. You are a part of the top team who captured the sharpshooter of Chota Shakil gang. You dealt with international level criminals. We have only seen these kind of acts in Hollywood or Bollywood kind of movies. So it requires a lot of courage to do that kind of risky task. So how you obtain this courage to deal with these kind of life-threatening situations?
Thank you for the words of for the kind words. It's I would rather say that more than the courage, it is just the fact that you need to do your duty. So once you came to civil service and once you joined the Indian Police Service, there is no way that you can go back. The option of turning your back is not available to you. Though you had stated a couple of these instances, but it's much more difficult to face in a normal situation than as an IPS officer. The normal policeman who stands on the road faces much more difficult situations than as a IPS officer. But it's always the fact that the police training brings a lot of positive attitude in you. The training and the knowledge that these people impart to you. For example, as a police officer, we have a nearly 11-month training in the National Police Academy. So that is the time when they teach you firing, they teach you horse riding. It is not because of the fact that horse riding helps you in, you are not going to ride a horse maybe in the next 30-34 years of your service. But horse riding gives you the confidence that if you can control an animal, then you can control a person very easily. It gives you that confidence because horse is such an animal that the moment you sit on the horse, you will feel that the horse will not understand you. But just because of the fact that the pressure that your thigh puts on the body of the horse will be able to understand whether you are sitting there with confidence or you are sitting there terrified. So that gives you a lot of confidence. Then police training also gives you scope to do a lot of adventure activities. For example, you get to do mountaineering, you get to do paragliding, scuba diving. There are a lot of activities, firing from all type of weapons. So these type of exercises, these type of knowledge that the professional knowledge that police training gives you, then you feel it much more easier to face any of these circumstances. And when you face a life or death event, it's always that it is not your thinking process that works, it's only your muscle memory that always works.
So there is a question from one Robin Roy, and the question is, how was your life in Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy for Administration and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy?
So when I joined civil services, the initial 3 months of training, that is 100 days of training, is conducted at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie. So that is a place where you work, you get your training along with all the officers, which includes all the IAS officers, foreign service, forest, foreign services, customs, central excise, all of them will be there. So that is the time you get to do a lot of activities that are there. It gives you an idea, initial idea that what is administration all about, what is Indian civil service all about. It gives you an initial idea on what you have learned, and as a graduate from a normal person, how you become a civil servant and how you use your knowledge to help the public. So basically, Labasana, that is what how Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, helps us in understanding and helps us in bringing an unity among the various services. Because as officers, when you are working in the field units, when you are as an SP, for example, my collector here is my batchmate. Similarly, there are a lot of officers who are there, who are working across India, who are your batchmates whom you have worked in. By being in Jamnagar SP, we have the Reliance refinery unit here, which is the largest manufacturer of liquid medical oxygen, which is now being used for COVID treatment. So as Labasana batchmates and as people who have done training in Labasana together, we are able to help and coordinate with people across India. If a batchmate calls me from Haryana and asks that you just help me out in getting oxygen tankers filled faster and sending it across. So this is the type of informal interaction that helps us in coordinating, which can actually, it is not a one-to-one help that you're doing. You are using your personal help or your personal relations to help the public. So that level of understanding and that level of bonding comes from the Labasana training. But once you come, those 100 days are the most happy days of your time, for the reason that the physical activity is very less, the climate is very good, you get to meet a lot of your batchmates. For example, we were just three from Kerala in IPS, but there were around 28 people who were there from Kerala in the entire batch. So that was a time when we could speak freely in Malayalam, because all of our batchmates were there, all from various services were there. Once you come from the environment where you have a initial introduction to the service, and then you come to NPA, National Police Academy, Hyderabad. So that brings a lot of change, because that is a place where you are now getting professionally trained. The next 11 months of your training will determine, 11 months, 48 weeks of your training will determine how you can survive as a police officer, how you can command a district, how you can command your men, and how you can take work out of your people, and how you can contribute to the system. That is a place where you learn Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, Evidence Act, and the various major and minor laws that are there. All those acts, all those trainings like maintenance of peace and public order, what police is all about, what is the Indian Police Act, what is the new Police Act that has been suggested. So all these things you learn in NPA. And NPA gives a lot of training also on the physical front, like it includes the drill, marching, ceremonial parades, how to command a parade. Because as IPS officers, we do invariably command parades of all the policemen. You have to both command a parade as well as you have to take the parade also. If you do not know how to command a parade, you cannot take the parade also. So whenever you come to the field, this 11 months of training makes you understand and gives you that professional knowledge, so that when you come to the field, your people who are working along with you will look up to you for guidance and leadership. So this 11 months of training gives you that guidance, so that you can guide and you can help your fellow officers.
So there was one more question. So this question came from Atulya, sir, and basically her question will be like, for people who are pursuing engineering right now, what should be the starting point for a career in the field of civil service? Like you had your father to inspire you, but for people who are aspiring now, where should they begin with and how they should start?
It's a very good question. I should have covered it in the first part itself. The best portion that you are doing is that if I can ask, sir, that the people who are listening, they include from all years, sir, first year to the fourth year, right?
Yes, sir. There is an audience of 261 from first year to fourth year and different branches of engineering.
Good. So the best time to start preparation is at the time when you are there in your engineering itself. If it's at the first year, second year, best time. But even if it's at your final year, the time has not gone. Because civil services, the option is that from the age of 21 till the age of 32, you can give your civil service examination. 4 attempts are available. So once you need to understand is that your initial basis is that you start with your newspapers. 1 or 2 newspapers, and preferably one newspaper, one English newspaper should be there, and one regional language newspaper. So both these things actually matter. And then 1 or 2 publications, weeklies. It can be either weekly or a monthly. During my preparation, I do not suggest that everyone should do the same. But during my preparations, I used to read the Hindu newspaper, and I also used to regularly follow the front line. But as time passes now, you do have options of other newspapers also. The Indian Express is there, the Times of India. There are a lot of newspapers available. And once you read a newspaper, it doesn't mean that you read only news items regarding 1 or 2. You need to read the newspaper from cover to cover. And special emphasis on the editorial portions and the special stories that are done. Initially, one might not find it very easy to understand. It will look like Greek and Latin. For an engineer, it was always Greek and Latin. But then over a period of time, once you start, what I used to do is that I used to read the newspaper, and during the final preparation times, as well as during the engineering times, I used to read the newspaper. Then I used to mark the newspaper and keep it. So when I used to mark the newspaper, and some people used to cut the newspaper and keep the necessary portions. Civil service examination, I tell that the newspaper should be read from cover to cover, just for the reason that once you read the newspaper, it may not be a person that what you are looking for in the newspaper, because you might read that Milao Viaduct is the longest. I think it was the longest or the highest aqueduct at that point of time. But the UPSC question will be that the Milao Viaduct, which is the highest the waterway at that point in the world, connects what river? So if you do not read the news item properly, and if you do not understand that how UPSC asks a question, UPSC is not looking for a person who knows only the surface knowledge. UPSC is looking for a person who looks into a problem and who sees the base of the problem. So if you need to see the base of the problem, then you should understand what the issue is. So as an answer to the question, what I would suggest is that you should start reading newspapers, and you should start identifying that what are the priority areas for you. That means you need to identify one optional subject that you need to take. This optional subject has to be in such a way that you should have the liking for the subject, and also it should be a scoring subject. You can look into the now it's all this data is available online. You can go through the data. You can identify subject, syllabus of this subject is also available online. I said that once you should select a subject of your liking, just for the reason that if I do not like a subject and if I try to study the subject only for the reason that it is a high scoring subject, then you will not be able to continue your efforts because you will get tired. You will feel that I do not want to continue the effort. And the moment that gets in your head that I cannot study this subject, then we lose the race. So you need to start your preparations at whatever point of time you are. No time is late until you give up your preparation. So even if you're in your final year, it's a very good time to start. You can start reading the newspapers. You can start reading some magazines. And then meanwhile, you can go through the UPSC syllabus. And I would suggest that if any person is interested, they can let us know. I'll share a couple of details with Muthu. So any person who has cleared the civil service in the last 3 to 4 years. So that will be a person who can guide you much more better, because I am a veteran now. I have completed 14 years in service now. So it's a long time. A couple of years is also a long time in UPSC preparation. But even then, the basis will be these two things.